Hey everyone, welcome to the first Unreal workshop by WIA Montreal. I am Nida. I hope you're all doing well. There are 13 people now. All right, so we're gonna start in a few minutes, let's say 2 minutes. We're gonna wait for people to show up and we'll try to get everybody who's signed up get online, and then we're gonna start with first our introductions. The chat is open, everyone. I hope you all have Unreal 5.6 installed and the project also running. If there is any issue that you're facing, please stay active on the chat or on Discord. Virginie is keeping an eye on Discord and she'll be here to help you. We also have Myra who will be assisting with questions. So I think we can start. Virginie, you go first. Thanks, Virginie. And hey everyone, I am Nida. My background is in visual effects and I've also worked in advertising. So I started as a texture look dev artist and then I started working in advertising as a generalist, and it's been 5 years that I've been working with Unreal. More than that, I've been in the industry, but 5 years of working in Unreal and mostly working with Unreal Engine cinematics. So I'm doing world building, lighting, look development, compositing, rendering, and also some meta humans here and there. So I'm very excited because this has been going on. We're working on this workshop for a very long time, and we're all very excited to have you all here. And let's start. So I'm gonna first take you through the outline. We will be covering this workshop in 2 days. We will be splitting it between a few tasks that we'll be covering today, followed by some work that will be done tomorrow. And we'll be meeting at the same time tomorrow as well. So we are going to be covering some parts of the Unreal UI. I believe you guys would be from a different background, from 2D animation, or if you're also from 3D, then it's a good intro to lighting and not world building, but layout and using composition tools and camera tools inside Unreal. So the idea of this workshop is to translate for those of you who are in 2D. So for you guys, especially to translate your 2D principles of lighting and composition into 3D. And the benefit with that, doing that in Unreal, is going to be that you will be using the same principles, but you will be also getting comfortable with the engine. And then later on, you can continue from there. So we'll be this is how the structure is going to be. If anytime you have any questions, you please reach out on Discord and on the chat. Okay, so I hope all of you have gone through the download links and the must-haves, and the project and everything is running. If it is not, then let me remind you, like, it can take a bit of time for it to compile shaders and get going, but keep us posted on your status. All right, all good. So I'm going to proceed to the next section, and we are going to, assuming you all have Unreal installed, we are going to go to Epic Games Launcher and start working from there. Sorry, Virginie. I am just uh, putting back the screen on. It's new to me, like streaming from OBS, so like I'm sorry if if you see like some random screen pop up in the middle of the workshop. My apologies. I'm gonna just putting it right now there. That can happen. Okay, so this we're gonna start. This is you would be like having a wallpaper. Okay. So we're gonna start with Epic Games Launcher, and here you will have some engine versions installed. Today we are going to be working with 5.6, so that has to be there. I mean, this project was created in 5.6, so if you're trying to downgrade it, make it work in a lower version, so it might not happen. So for this project, we will be using 5.6, which is the latest release. So let's click on launch and wait for it to open. Hey everyone, welcome to the first Unreal workshop by Thanks Virginie and screen on. It's new to me, like streaming from OBS, so like I'm sorry if if you see like some random screen pop up in the middle of the workshop. My apologies. I'm gonna just putting it right now there. That can happen. Okay, so this we're gonna start. This is you would be like having one bit. Okay, so this is the Unreal browser. It opens like the first thing that you see in the browser is the projects that you have in the drive. It's all going to show up in there. After that, you can see there are some templates. So just give me a sec. I need to. All right, sorry. So there was something showing up on the page here. Now back to the subject. You can see the Unreal Project browser is open. The first tab, which is the recent projects, shows all the recent projects. Then you have some templates. So we have games, film, architecture, simulation, all of these. You can start with any template when you are working for the first time or when you are working on different like subsequent projects. The only difference that you are going to find between a different template, let's say between a blank template from a films or a template from the games, is that certain plugins are going to be enabled for the use case. So it's your choice how you want to start your project. It is not there is not no one way or not a right way or not just an only way to do that. So it's totally your call. If in case like you want to import something from a different template into the project, that can be done once you have the project created in any template. So it doesn't matter much. So what we're going to do is I know we have a project that we are going to be working with, but we are going to first just see like if we are creating a new project, then how that works. So it is freezing. So we're gonna give it a couple minutes. Okay, now it's back. All right. So this is, I'm selecting blank. You can select the project location where you want the project to be saved, and then simply click on create. Now, in the previous versions of Unreal, I'm not seeing it here right now, so I assume like it's a new update that has that has come up. But there were a few more options that you can enable in while you're creating the project, and those options are basically adding some content to the project. Okay, so you can click on create. It is going to take some time and create the project for you. Okay, so let's go to our project that we will be working with. It is called WIA Canvas to Real Time. Let's open it. It's kind of strange like talking to a screen, and I know people are listening, but I cannot hear or see any of you guys. So just stay active on the chat. Tell me about your background. Like, are there any people who have worked in 3D or have some experience with Unreal or 3D, or what's the group like? Okay, so this is the project. This is how the UI looks. I'm going to change the layout. I'm going to just reset it to the default one because this is not the default editor. So this is how your Unreal editor would be opening up. There is a big viewport on in the front, and then on the side you have some windows, and again on the bottom there are some windows. So I'm going to, like, I can show you why I work with that certain kind of a layout, and it's going to make a lot more sense. You can choose to work with a similar layout, but let's look at the UI first. On the top, as is with every other software, we have the menu options. So we have file, edit, window, all the tools. So you build. We're gonna come to some of these later. So we have some options. Then we have, in this section, we have different modes that we can work with. So by default, we work with the selection mode. Now to navigate in the viewport, you can use WASD keys, or if you're coming from Maya or from some from a non 2D background, it can take a bit of time to get used to it, but it should be fine. If you're a gamer, then absolutely no problem. So WASD what we'll be using to navigate in the viewport. And this option, like when we are, as the name suggests, it's the selection mode. So we are able to select the assets or actors that are there in the scene or the level. So right now what we have open is a scene, or you can call it, in Unreal it is called a level. And then we have other view modes or other modes that we can switch to when we are working with a different kind of format. So if we are going to create a landscape, we switch to a landscape mode. If we want to work with forests and add some foliage and trees, we go to foliage mode, and so on. So there are these different modes that are there by default we are on the selection mode. And then you have some options here, some for rendering. This is for blueprint, which is the Unreal visual scripting tool. Then we have some camera or shot or sequences tools here. Okay, and then we have the play button. So when you're working on a game, or if you are working on an experience or something that is going to that is going to be real time, you can simulate how the mechanics work with this. Platforms, we're not going to look at that. And this was our next set of menu options. And then in the viewport we have more options here. So select objects, translate, rotate. Now to do that, the shortcuts on the keyboard are Q for select, W for the translation mode, E for rotate, and R for scale. Okay. So, and then we have a local space coordinate or a world space coordinate. I think this is going to be better when we are working in the scene, when the level that I've shared with you, we open that and start looking at that, because that's gonna make more sense and it's going to be easier to grasp. And these are like pretty simple things, but like I'm gonna move on and get into the next thing. So here in the UI we have outliner. This has everything that is there in the level. It's going to show up. So all the elements in Unreal, we call them actors. They are going to show up in the outliner. And then with every actor there is some parameters, some attributes associated with them that are going to show in the details panel. So right here. And this brings me to the topic, like why I keep the layout in the way that it was there before. So I like keeping the details on the side, so it's easier for me to see everything that's in the outliner. Right now we have nothing in the scene, so it's absolutely empty, but I like keeping the details panel on the side, so it's easier for me to look at the attributes of the actors. After that, this is a very important tool, which is the content drawer, and let's click on it. You can click on this dock in layout, so it's always visible. And now this is going to have all the assets that are there in the project. It is going to contain all of those. They are going to be present here. And quickly I'm going to show you if we right click on any of the folder and go to show in Explorer, then it is going to have the same structure. So it's of course it's the same thing that is replicated inside the engine. So you see the same organization and file management in the Explorer. So it has a copy or a U asset in the Explorer for every actor that you have in the content drawer. Okay, so this was the UI. Then we have a few more things that are very important when we are starting our work in the engine, and you might not be changing anything, but it's good to know that you have some preferences, project settings, and plugins. So let's say like right now the template that I'm using, it's a blank template from a films domain. So if I want something from virtual production, I can look for, I can search for the plugin, and I'm going to get some of the tools that are available in the other templates. They're going to be enabled for this project. If I am looking for landscapes, actually, landscapes by default, some are not, some plugins are not enabled when we are working with landscapes. So we can create this landmass to get some additional functionality that is required to work with in the plugins folder. So it's just like these features and tools that are available that you can enable. Then we have project settings, which is again like huge. There are so many stuff here, so many things here. The main thing that I want you to look at, if in case like your project is opened and something is not working correctly, so we are going to, for that we are going to go to engine and scroll down to, let me find it, Windows, and in the platform Windows section we are going to get some shader formats and these settings. So we have to just check like the shaders that we are, the materials that we are using are going to be using this particular model SM6. So this is enabled. We are working with DirectX 12. So DirectX 12 is going to be working with this shader model. If, and this is in case like when you're opening the project, the shaders are looking off. Now that could be due to the hardware. So I mean, if something like that is happening already with you, let us know. But here are some settings that are important to look at in the beginning. And after that, we have where it is. So in engine, and then we also have where is it? Yeah, okay, right here. So there are some settings in rendering that we change. Right now for this project, we are working with the default settings, but they are going to improve the quality of lighting and so on. So these are, we're not going to look at a lot of it. These are just some key basic things that are important to know about. All good? Okay. So I asked you all to also have this tool called Pureref downloaded to use. So if you can open it, or if you're not following along and just watching it, watching the stream. So this Pureref tool is going to be very important with whatever we are going to do now. We can, it's just good for referencing. We're gonna get some images from the internet, and if you are using any image generation tools, you can like write your prompts, get a reference and use it here. Or if you're using your own illustrations or work to recreate something, anything, but it's basically for referencing. You can create mood boards here. It's a simple tool, nothing big in here. It's not even very advanced. So what I tend to do is under mode, I just select always on top. So if whenever I have some references, they're just going to show up here. So I'm going to open this set of references that I had saved before. Okay, let me check. Okay, so I think there's some problem with my references. I'm not able to locate the path where they are stored. But anyway, so we're gonna we can look at for some references, but that was the introduction to Pureref. And now the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to look at the asset library that is built in the engine. So for that, we will go to Windows and look for Fab. So you're gonna also get Quixel Bridge. Quixel Bridge was used earlier. Now all the content, all the Megascan contents, it has moved to Fab. Now this basically has a lot of high fidelity assets, high quality data, which was free to use within Unreal. And Bridge is the bridge between the Quixel assets and Unreal to directly import those assets inside the editor. Now, some things have changed in the last year, and these assets are not entirely free. So that's a bummer. But luckily for you, today we have assets already downloaded in Fab. But it's good to know that you're going to find a lot of assets in here. You can browse with categories, and you will also find some free assets in here. So if you go to environments, and there are a bunch of settings. So now these are all the free environments that are available on Fab. You can download it, directly run it inside the editor. So that is very important when we are working with Unreal, because sometimes we will be using those assets from Fab, primarily from Quixel Bridge. So let me go to the home page, and okay. Okay, so the same assets that we saw earlier in Quixel Bridge, they're going to show up here, and we can download those. Also, this is an important thing. So here on the side, you'll also see there's a tutorials and examples section. So this is going to contain some of the sample content from Epic Games. So if you want to see how uh, the technical artists at Epic Games are creating certain projects, and how they're optimizing the projects, everything, it's a good way to get familiar, and also learn some good practices. So exploring those projects. So I hope all is good, all's going good, and I'm just going to quickly go through the chat, see if there are any questions. I hope my audio and everything is fine. Okay, so back to the editor, and we are going to go to File and select Open Level. Okay, so here we are going to go to maps. Maps folder is going to have this level called landscape kit bash. We're going to open it. I did some adjustments to the floor in the main level, so it's asking me to save. I'm just going to click on don't save. So this is the level that we'll be working with. I've created this. I've added a landscape in it. It's a very small landscape. It's a small area that is having these the environment set up. So what we're going to do is we will be adding some, for you guys, the exercise that you'll be doing as you're following along is we have this Fab folder which has Megascans folder inside, and then there are some props in here, some trees and assets, some plants. So we're gonna look at, you know, placing them and making this environment more detailed, more polished. So today we are going through the UI and looking at the composition in 3D. So this is the environment. Okay, now a quick thing and important thing that is going to be helpful here. These gizmos that we see on the screen, they are representing the directional light and those elements. So if you don't want them visible, if you just want to see what's there outside of this, you don't want this visible, so you can just press G on your keyboard. So this is going to just enable the game mode. There is that option of switching between the game mode is also available here. So in the perspective, right, so when you select game view, it's all the gizmos, everything is going to be gone, and right now we can see them in the level. So when you want to see like the final thing, you just toggle G on the keyboard. Okay, so now let's look at some of the tools here before we start with the next section. Okay, so on the top we have perspective. Now by default you can work with the perspective mode, and then you have the cameras that you create are going to show up here, and you can switch between the cameras. Then we have some orthographic views like top, bottom, all of that. So these are the different camera views. Let's go back to perspective. Then you can pilot the different actors that are there in the level. So this is going to be more helpful when you're like placing an actor, like a light or an asset, and then you can just be like, okay, I want to see like where exactly I'm placing it. So let me actually look at it. Let me So I'm going to go to Windows and open this Place Actors. So it's going to open this window for me. Now I can search for some actors through here. Okay, so now it can be like slightly intimidating in the beginning, so slightly overwhelming because there are like too many things in the editor, and you have some content browser here also which has assets. Then you have some assets that you can get from the place actors also. So it can feel like, where do I go to if I need to find some uh, light or a particular asset? Now that shouldn't take a while to get used to. It's just like, the built-in things that are there in the editor are going to show up here. So you have the lights, some shapes. You can place a cube in here. I think today the editor is being really slow because of the live stream, so it's freezing very often. So I placed a cube in the level, and now in the outliner you can see the cube is added. I'm going to remove it. Then you have some other options that you can add through the place actors. So it's usually the it's more like tools, shapes, and lights that you're adding through place actors, and all the things that are that you're using to populate the level are going to be there in the content browser. So the assets are going to be here, and yeah, I hope that makes sense. Okay, so now let's say like I'm gonna add a point light. Tomorrow we will be looking at lighting in detail, so I'm not gonna spend a lot of or much time on lighting, showing the different kinds of lights, because we have plenty of time for that. So I'm going to turn off the existing lights and just keep this one on. So here in the settings we can increase the intensity, so I'm just going to increase it to 1000. And now the reason I selected this was to show you like I can pilot this particular light, and not just a camera. I can look through. Usually we are used to like viewing through cameras, but this is very important, like when you're placing also a prop or a light or set dressing, anything. So you can select you can place it using the pilot option. Okay, so I think I've moved now pretty far away from every space. Okay, especially because all the lights are off, so it's even difficult to figure out where we are in the environment. Okay, I'm gonna increase the intensity more and change the color to red. So all right, I think this is a good point. Now I'm gonna click on this button which says stop piloting an actor with the current viewport. So that is off, and now let's go to the direction light towards the point light, and you can see like initially we had placed it at the bottom of the ground, closer to the ground, and now it is like at a very elevated area. So the piloting option is pretty useful that way. Okay, I'm gonna delete this and turn on the lighting. So we looked at this one. Then we have camera movement. So camera speed, and uh, the good thing is like you don't need to come to this setting when you're working, and you get pretty comfortable doing changing the camera speed on the fly. So let's say like I am, zooming out now, zooming out of the so much, taking the camera so much away, and you see like the speed is very constant. Now if I want to change that, what I can do is press W and just the middle mouse button or scroll, whatever that's called. I'm just going to scroll that, and you can see like the speed is changing, the camera speed. So as you are going away or close to an object, you can roll the middle mouse button, and then it's gonna change the speed. So another way to do that is to, next to the perspective or the view modes, camera view modes, we have this camera speed, which you can select. But again, this is not, I mean, it's more intuitive when you're just doing the middle mouse change. Okay, so okay, so I hope you all are following me. Okay. So we looked at these settings. We're gonna look at a few more as we are working. I am going to go to the camera that we have already created, and let me select this camera. I'm going to press G, and now whatever actor that we are, whatever prop that we are placing, we're gonna keep this camera view always on, so we know what the changes that are being made. Before going to that part, let's quickly have a look at the outliner again. Here it's very crucial to make sure that everything is organized. Every assets are put in like proper folders. Lighting is properly set, and it's easier when you are doing this from the starting, so it is not it doesn't become too much to organize later on. So always a good habit keeping every uh, asset's name also properly set and keeping it organized, especially when you're working in a team or collaborating with somebody, or even like for your own good. It's going to be a lot more helpful when you have the outliner and even the content or browser also properly organized. So just want to make put it there, and uh, yeah, because it's a very important part. Okay, so now I am going to go in this mega scans folder, and I will find some asset to work with. So all these assets are taken from Fab, and these are all Quixel assets that we looked at. So let's say like if you want to import an asset, okay, I'll show. We have added some assets here, but I'm going to show like if you want to add a new asset to the level, to the project. So okay, so let me find my library. Okay. Okay, so it is currently not logged in. So the login that you require for working with Fab is the same that you're using for Epic Games. So just uh, can use the same credentials and your account will be good to go. Okay, I am just still in the process of logging in. There is too much two-factor login and everything you gotta do sometimes to secure your account. Okay, so uh, all right. Okay, great. So now I am logged in, and for all the assets that I'm selecting, I can open the asset, go to the quality, whichever quality I want to work with. So this is going to uh, give you a different poly count as well as a different texture resolution. So if you're selecting a medium quality, the texture resolution should be 4K or 2K. The highest you get is 8K in the Quixel assets. So this is the Quixel library, and okay, so if I want to bring in this particular table inside the scene, I am just going to this is a new asset which I do not have. So I'm going to go to this section, my library, and I hope, no, okay, this is strange because I have these assets in my library, so it should not be showing, this should not be happening. Um, did I use a different login? I don't think so. It's the correct account. Let me cross-check that. Okay, let's try bringing this asset. Okay, it is already downloaded, so I can simply just add it to project, and it is going to create a folder, and inside the Fab folder, and this asset is going to show up there. Okay, So there is some error with the import. Yeah, I'm gonna try this once again, just to see if I'm still getting that error when I'm downloading. Okay, so this is fine. Now in here we looked at the settings. Okay, I'm gonna keep it to medium quality because I that depends on the project that you are working with, what kind of quality level that you are looking to achieve. So it is totally your call which quality you want to go with. You, if you are downloading a higher quality, so you can still downres it inside the editor, but the opposite is not going to happen, of course. So I've just selected and I'm going to click on add to project. Okay, so here I have created this, and now in this folder I am getting a materials folder, a static meshes, and a textures folder. So the material is going to have the material that is being used by the asset. This is the model that we imported. So let's look at it. Okay, it is looking pretty good. On the left, you can see the triangle, the poly count of it. You can see it says nanite support enabled, and nanite is a way of working with very high uh, density poly count meshes for them to work inside Unreal. So it's very useful when you are, I'm sure like some of you would have seen the Unreal 5 demo um, with the canyons and a huge environment, and all of that was okay. So just I think my audio is not very clear, so I'm gonna take a 5-minute break here, and then we're going to continue from here. Okay. Okay, so let's start. We were looking at this mesh, and we're not going to go into nanite right now. It can get uh, out, it's not in the scope of this lesson. So I'm just going to disable this and click on apply changes and save it. So now we have this asset and we are going to place it in the level. Here you can see it's really tiny, so it's not that visible. We can scale it. So what I'm going to do is select the asset, go to the details. Here on the side, you will see some transform settings, and then we have scale. So in the scale, I want to scale it in all the axes. So I'm just going to lock this and let's click on 5. So it's going to become like a really big twig, which is not real, but it's okay. So we have this in the level. Okay, so we've added this. So the part of this exercise will be after this call today is over, you are going to go back and
use these, some of the props that are added here in the project. You're going to use those. If you want to replace a few assets that are not part of this particular actor, the instanced foliage actor, for example, some of the trees which are going to be here in this folder. So you can replace them, you can remove them and add your own tree or your own mesh or a cliff or whatever you want to do with the environment. So you're free to do that. You can place these and do a layout of your own. Okay, so there are a lot of assets here, metal lantern, walls, and these are also modular. So you can, if you want to replace this house, for example, so use this asset. Some of you can use these walls and make a uh, you can make a boundary wall or you can make a boundary wall around this house if you want. So explore this, check which ones you want to use. Okay. Now what we are going to do is I am going to get out of this camera mode and I'm going to find a position for this asset. I'm going to place it. Okay, let me rescale it back to 2 and keep it closer to the ground, maybe here. And now like I'm going to create a new camera. Okay, and actually before this, let's right click on this asset, click on move to, and we are going to create a folder. We can move it inside the env or we can create a props folder and move it there. So let me do that. Okay, so this is here. I'm gonna add a few more things around here. Let's add a trash can. Okay, I think this is a decent spot. This could be a lot closer also to the house. Let's just get it to this size. And I am going to place the lid also right here. So I'm just going to scale this lid to 2. And this is, I want them to be part of the same asset. So what I'll be doing is take this lid and change its mobility to movable. And I'm going to make it a child of the trash can. So now whenever I'm moving the trash can, not this one, this trash can, so the lid is also moving with it. So let me just reset the position and now it is placed, the lid is placed properly on the trash can. So this is here. Let's just put it somewhere at this point. If you see that your asset is floating on air and you just want it to stick to the ground, you can press the End key on keyboard. It's not working here. Let me try here. Not working here either. That's strange. Or let me take this trash can outside. Okay, and let's print end. Okay, this is not working for some reason, or am I missing something? I'm not sure. Okay, let's take it back to where we brought it from. But the End key on the keyboard is going to snap the asset to the ground. So if you have a landscape in the level, that's going to just snap it to the landscape. Okay, so I've placed this here. And after that, what we are going to do is the twig is in this region. Let's move it around slightly. I'm going to change the the space coordinates to local space. So I'm getting axis on the along the asset. Just place it here. Okay. And now we have added just two props, nothing else. And we're going to go into Cine in the Place Actors tab, and we're going to go to CineCamera Actor. So you can drag and drop this camera inside the level. Right now you can't see it, so just press G. It's gonna become visible. Right click on the camera and click on Pilot CineCamera Actor. So now we can just position our camera wherever we want. Okay, we are going to keep it closer to the trash can so we have a subject in the camera. Okay, I think this is like a nice view because we are getting something in the foreground, something in the middle ground, which is the subject, and then a background. So this is, I think, looking fine. We can explore it, can explore more angles. It doesn't hurt. So that's the thing. It's gonna be like once you are starting to place your cameras in the level, it's going to become a lot fun because suddenly, especially you guys are going to be like, I guess, more cinematic, more visually, it's gonna have like more story in the frames that you're setting. So I'm just gonna take it back. Okay, right. So I've placed this and let's go to our camera. I'm going to put these also in the right folder. Okay, save the level. And this is our camera. Let's take our camera to the cameras folder. So now coming to the camera settings. The first thing that we have is a look at tracking. The look at tracking is going to, if we select it, we can select the actor that we want the camera always oriented towards. So we have this drop down also available, which has all the assets that are there in the outliner, or we can use this picker and directly select the actor that we want. So now the camera, if we like, let's say, get out of this mode and we look at this camera from outside, you can see that it is now pointing or facing, orienting towards the trash can. Now, if we are moving this trash can like up, so if you notice, like the camera is also going up, right? So the orientation is changing. So look at tracking is very good if you want to have the subject in the middle of the screen, or if you want to have like a smooth camera motion around the subject. Okay, so I'm just going to undo it. By the way, a very important thing, somehow I missed it. I just remembered. When you are placing these props in the scene, it is going to be very crucial that you first establish a scale of reference in the scene. So the scale of reference, you can just keep it there and make sure like all the assets are proportional to that. So you're not gonna have like when you place a human character inside it, then you're not gonna have that problem that the scale is off or the distance, like the transform between different actors, different props is not enough, the space is not enough. So that problem is going to be avoided completely. So how you can do that is we are going to add some content to the content browser. So we don't have it currently, but what we're going to do is in you see this icon plus add, we're going to select it and we are going to go to add feature or content pack. So this is the same content pack that we can get when we are creating the project in the beginning. So there is one setting there which allows you to add some of the content that is there already, which you have downloaded. So similar to that, the starter content you can also access from here if you are selecting plus add. What we are going to do is in the under blueprint, we're just going to click on third person and add this to project. Okay, so this is added. Let's close this. What it is giving us, it's basically giving us some characters. In Unreal, they are called mannequins. So this is like very useful. If you can use these characters for animation also, it's pretty great actually. So we're just going to go to the characters folder and select one of these and put them in the level. Okay. So now this is going to be exactly same as a real life human height, like 6 feet, I think, close to 6 feet, somewhere between around that. But it's actual real life height. Okay. So now if I'm going close to the mannequin, this character, and we are placing it next to the trash can, clearly the trash can looks big because we scaled it. So it is looking big. So this is going to help you like in deciding what the scale of the props or assets or whatever you're adding to the level is going to be. So just keep make sure that you have this in the scene before you start adding props. Okay, now back to the camera. So I'm going to go to perspective and select the new camera that we created. And we had added, okay, so here we are. We have added enable look at tracking. So this is focused on the can. We can change this offset. We can add some offset on the Z axis. Okay, a very important thing. It's like in Unreal, it's something like in XYZ, X and Y are going to be your axis uh, on the 2D plane, and the upward axis is Z. So it's different from other softwares that we have in 3D. Okay, so if I'm just adding some transform value to the Z axis, the camera tracking will change. Uh, okay. Okay, so let's say this is fine. After that, we are going to go to the film back settings. So here you have different presets that are available that are saved. So you can choose to work with these presets, or you can add your own sensor width and height. If you want to be more accurate and close to real life cameras, then it is better that you go with the presets that are already here instead of adding a custom film back setting. So this is same as any digital, any physical camera. So the same settings that you are getting in digital and physical cameras are available here. So I'm just going to go with 16:9 digital film. And now you can change this, but you can change the sensor width and height. That's going to change the aspect ratio. We don't want to do that. We want to stick to the right values. Okay, then coming down, we have the lens settings. So in the lens settings, we have by default, it is set to universal zoom. And what it does is that we can, let's open the focus, not the focus, yeah. So the focal length that we have is you can just change it to whatever value you like. So there is no set value for it. But if you want to work with a set value, then you can go and select a specific lens. So now if I have selected a 85 mm lens, I cannot change the focal length. So it works like that. Again, similar to the film back settings, if you want to have something very close to an actual camera, then you can work with these presets. Or if you are well knowledgeable about this, you can go with the universal zoom and keep your own focal length, which has a actual focal length in real cameras, physical cameras also. Okay, after that we have the minimum and maximum focal length. We're not going to do anything with this, we'll just keep it as it is. These settings, min f-stop and max f-stop, right now let's ignore it and come back to the aperture. So by default, everything is set to 2.8. We can set it to a different value. Okay, let me actually set the lowest. So we see the effect of depth of field very clearly, and this I've set it to 1.2. This is the default, this is the lowest that is coming from the minimum f-stop. So I cannot go beyond this. I cannot go lower than this. If I want to go lower than 1.2, then I can change the min f-stop here in the min f-stop setting, and then I can change the current aperture to that value. But I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to just keep it to 1.2. And now let's set the focus. So the depth of field is very strong right now. Now coming to focus, we are going to open this focus setting. Now we have a focus method which has some uh, options. The first one by default is going to be manual. So you select the subject where you want to focus, and you can select it enter the distance. You can take this picker and select like, okay, I want to set a focus on this mannequin. So whatever distance it is from the camera, that's going to input it here. And now you can see that the mannequin is in focus. Or you can select, since we are selecting the trash can, so we're gonna select that. And we have a debug focus plane. So this is very useful in checking where the focus is lying currently. Okay, so everything beyond, everything that is purple is completely out of focus. Now, if we want to change this offset, we want to move this, so we can choose to do this. We can choose to add a offset, and now you can see everything in that region is completely blurred. The next option in the focus settings is tracking. So similar to what we had here with the look at tracking, which was setting the orientation of the camera, we can select tracking in the focus method. This is very useful when you have a moving camera or a moving actor, and you want the focus locked on a particular subject. So it's very helpful there. Again, we can just use the picker, select the asset, and use this relative offset or use the focus offset. So usually I am working with the focus offset. It's a lot simple, straightforward. Let's turn on the focus plane. It's reset to 2.0. So you can see as I'm like, selecting different assets, different actors in the level, the plane is also shifting, right? So that is how it is working. And now I will just offset it very slightly and then disable the focus plane. And this is the view that we are getting. Okay, I'm going to not very, at this point, like, I'm not very happy with the camera position. So let's move it around slightly. Okay, and it's not going to be very easy to move it around because our camera is locked to the sky. So we can set some offset in the tracking, or we can simply just deselect enable look at tracking and place it. This, for the purpose that we are using this camera, it's not really important for us to lock the camera orientation on a particular subject because the subject isn't moving. If you want to move the camera, then sure, it's going to be useful. So I'm just going to do some adjustments here. Okay, and I'm going to reset the aperture to the default. It's actually too busy. The environment is, of course, has a lot of foliage, so it is quite uh, noisy from a particular angle. So I have removed the look tracking, and let's just find another view. Okay, I'm going to change the aperture. Okay, and the actor is still the same. It's the same selected one. Okay, I'm going to hide this mannequin. SG. Now, if you are happy with the camera, then I don't want to accidentally move it, so I can just right click on the camera, select it, and click on transform and lock actor movement. So then when I'm moving the camera, when it's not going to change the view. Okay, let's remove it again. And now I'm going to change the focal length. So I'm going to make it 85. Okay, I'm treating this can as the subject, right? Like trying to make it very cinematic, irrespective of what we are focusing on. Okay, so immediately, like after changing this, of course, the depth of field is also like more strong. So I can like changing the focal length has a big role in changing the cinematic quality, and you can experiment with different focal lengths. It is definitely making everything like flatter. So the image is overall a lot compressed that way. Okay, so, All right, this is pretty good. Let's lock the camera transform. And after this, we are actually done with this session for today's part. This was it. Tomorrow, we are going to look at lighting. So when you come back tomorrow, and when you go back today after the session, I expect you guys, like, hope you guys work on creating new cameras, adding, dressing the scene, and showing your screenshots on Slack, on, sorry, Discord, so we can have a look at what you have done with the environment so far. So I'll show you a good way to share the screenshot that's gonna give you like a better quality render. So for that, we are going to go select the, okay, frozen again. Okay, so we're gonna go and select this drop down menu, and in the bottom of this menu, okay, this is the perspective camera mode where we have all the other cameras. So we're gonna come down to this option which says high resolution screenshot, and we are going to, it has some settings, screenshot size multipliers, so it's just going to increase the resolution of this image. Okay, and just for organization purpose, I always turn on date and timestamp, and then we are going to click on capture. So it is going to capture this screenshot, and it's going to capture it as it is. So whatever you have on the view, whatever visible is there on the viewport, even if you have gizmos, that is also going to show up in there. So you see, like, this is the screenshot that I got. It's a very quick way to do a clean render of a static shot. So go back after the class, experiment, play with the level, and share your screenshots, share your these renders with us. And then tomorrow we're going to continue with lighting and then creating cinematic, uh, moving short film, or uh, working with different other camera views. Yeah.